Welcome back to Final Third Friday with a special guest tonight, Jake Sanders from Crowned Heads.
Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. We're excited to do a pairing today with, well, you tell us a little bit. Well, before we get into that, let's at least introduce everybody.
Well,
My bad.
I'm Isaiah, and we've got a returning guest.
Yeah.
The
Howdy.
man who still won't retrohale, even though we taught him.
We'll get him to tonight again.
I look
Eric.
like a 3-year-old when I try to do it.
Hey,
and
It's
you
all
know
right.
this.
You
all
gotta start
right.
somewhere.
Yeah.
So we decided to bring Jake in today, talk a little bit about this new cigar release with Crowned Heads that's already been selling great here, but we're excited to pair it up today.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, again, thank you guys for having me on. Actually, this is the first time I'm meeting Isaiah, so I know he's a
Yeah.
huge fan of Crowned Heads.
Kinda
and
funny.
It's nice to
Yeah,
be
you
here.
always ditch me. No, I have a day job, so it's like you come in during the week and I'm never here.
Yeah.
No.
Well, nonetheless, I greatly appreciate you guys having me on. A little bit of my background, I came from retail cigars, so I know exactly what you guys do. I commend Rob and Isaiah what you guys do on a daily basis. So originally from Columbus, Ohio, started at Tinderbox at Easton, started my own podcast with a buddy named Steve Crane. It's called Bourbon and BS Podcast.
All right.
So it's kind of what you guys do here. It very structured in like our segments, and they do a lot of ratings. I don't know if you guys do that, but I know Steve's done that since I left.
Okay.
But he just does it in his garage, so it's pretty cool.
Cool.
And
That's
then
awesome.
I worked for Burn by Rocky Patel in Indianapolis. Was there for almost 3 years, and then I started with Crowned Heads as their Northeast sales manager in July of this year.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So-
you saw the light.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Just
this is
kidding.
this is something I was working towards. So I wouldn't trade anything about Burn by Rocky Patel in Indianapolis for
Sure.
anything. So
Totally.
it's just it's an amazing experience, beautiful spot.
Yeah.
But obviously, you have a beautiful spot here.
Oh, thank
at
you.
Final Third. So
Thank you.
I love this place.
Appreciate it, man.
It's funny.
Yeah, I mean it's been fun to watch because we've been watching you from afar on your travels around the Northeast and East right now, and it's just been fun to
They're
watch how much
literally
you're
sending
growing.
you
and,
everywhere.
oh,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah, we all have.
you're killing it.
I mean, it's still a very, not a very small company, but I mean, Crowned Heads is still considered a boutique brand.
Yeah.
And we have 4 or 5 different, regional sales managers. So, and then Miguel Shadell with our national sales manager. So, there's a lot of area to cover, to say the
Totally.
least. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's really cool to see like the Northeast part of the country. I'm kind of a hillbilly, so I don't really go out of the Midwest or Tennessee. That's about as far.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
But seeing like eastern part of New York and New England is really cool to see that part of the country. So
awesome. Well, good deal. So today, you want to talk a little bit more about that cigar?
yeah, of course.
A little bit, so-
What we're going to be smoking tonight is the Azulejo, blue and gold, if you will. It's a beautiful, beautiful Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro wrapper leaf. And then it's a Nicaraguan Jalapa binder. And then it's a all Nicaraguan filler.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. I
Yeah.
guess I had it down as Dominican Nicaraguan.
Yeah.
Probably need to change it, huh?
yeah. So it's...
Where'd you get your info? Half wheel?
I don't know. I usually have to look at 2 or 3 different sites to figure it out, and someone.
No,
someone
he
obviously
probably
had
listened
Dominican.
to me.
Well, it's got... So it does have Dominican. You're not totally wrong. It does have Dominican fillers.
Good.
So,
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good.
But
Just
it's,
a very light amount.
yeah, it's got all the regions of Nicaragua in it. as
Oh,
far
awesome.
As, yeah. As far as Condega, Ometempe, and then
Jalapa.
Jalapa.
Yeah.
So,
So today,
Well-
we're pairing that with Heaven Hill's Bottled and Bond. This is a 7-year Bottled and Bond product from Heaven Hill. So,
Yeah.
Ain't
Yeah.
much else to say about it. It's just good Heaven Hill.
It's just
So,
good Heaven Hill. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, they took their 6-year that was $15 and bumped it up to $55 or $70, and it's a year older.
It's a
It's
year
great.
older.
Wow.
Put it in a nice bottle.
It's great,
It's
yeah.
awesome.
Who would
It's
have guessed?
capitalism.
Didn't throw it
Value
on
for
out.
your dollar.
Didn't throw it
Totally.
on allocation. It's hard for people to get.
Yeah. I know.
Don't remind me about my baby, the 6-year. I miss that bottle so much. I had a case of it at one point in my life.
I think everybody had a case
Well,
of
here,
it at one
let's,
point in their life.
Let's get our pours going here so we can get started.
But you guys, this just shipped to you guys, correct?
Yes.
Like, what, a week
We
ago?
got it last week.
Yeah, right before Thanksgiving. That was...
Don't do that yet. You got to do a cold draw, bud. Hey, come on the show second time. Still figuring it out.
I'm excited.
Yeah, this cigar is very nice construction. It's got a nice oily
Oh, thank you.
Oscuro wrapper on it. Dark, rich brown, and a huge cap, which I love.
Yeah.
Gives you any opportunity to cut it whichever way you want.
Yep.
And it's a great size, too.
It is.
You know, you got a 6x52. So, I mean, in my mind, a true Toro.
Right. What a Toro should be, for sure.
Yeah, I'm a big Toro guy. I like to enjoy my cigars, and I enjoy, sitting down for an hour and a half. So I think that's what cigars are made for.
I agree
Absolutely.
wholeheartedly. Although I do smoke a lot of small ones. I'll
Yeah.
smoke 2 instead of 1.
Yeah, sometimes you have stuff like our B50, the Bosphorus,
Oh,
done
yeah.
by Tim Osgener. I call that one the dog walker.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh, yeah.
4
We got
by
the B52 in there now. We just
Yeah.
got that in
Yeah.
this week.
so it's 4 by 50. It's a tiny
Right.
little box press cigar, but it works.
So on the cold draw on this one, what I'm getting is almost like chocolate and raisins.
I'm getting raisin bran. I'm not getting a lot of chocolate.
Okay. It's like,
I'm back to that raisin bran again. I'm getting that
I
bran kind of.
can find some dark chocolate
Yeah.
and definitely some raisin in there.
You mean like on the lips, on the tongue, the chocolate, or on the draw?
on the draw, but it's like you opened up a thing of
I
Swiss
guess I could
Miss.
see like a very mild,
like
like a light mild.
Yeah.
I could see that.
It does really have it's got a beautiful like dark chocolate, like rich espresso cocoa kind of
Yeah.
thing
Yeah,
going
totally.
on. And it, I mean, I
Maybe
lit up
that's it.
before we
Yeah,
got
yeah.
started. So,
Well, in full disclosure, we were talking about what to pair this with, and we were thinking about a couple of different things. I wasn't really feeling the old fashioned or the Sazerac we were talking about earlier. So throughout the Uncle Nearest and the old the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, and
Yeah.
this one definitely hit his palate. So that's what we're going with.
yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Heaven Hill fan. I know you are too,
Oh,
Eric.
yeah.
So, I'm a big Elijah Craig fan, and there's like nothing that they can do any wrong with. So, I think this was a great pairing. Now, if you speak to a lot of traditional cigar smokers like Miguel, he would say that rum is always the best pairing with cigars. But
he's lying.
yeah,
But that's kind
I'll
of
see if Miguel sees this.
that's kind of reminds me of the guys or the people that really enjoy an Irish whiskey or a Scotch. It's a little lower proof. It's more smooth and sweet.
Yep.
I get it, but honestly, all 4 of us at this table we're
Yeah,
all
we're
proof
whiskey
hounds.
guys.
Yeah, I like bourbon.
We like bourbon a lot, so
I need to get this lit
cool.
up.
I'm ready.
Agreed.
So I will say, I spoke to John Huber, one of the owners of Crowned Heads, and it was interesting. Before I actually smoked this cigar, based off of the blend, just specifically the blend, I really thought it was going to be a lot like the La Imperiosa,
Okay.
Yeah.
because the La Imperiosa is an Ecuadorian Habano Oscuro as well. And if you don't know, that was our original Las Calaveras from 2014, from back in the day. So that's why a lot of people really enjoy the La Imperiosa.
Oh,
so and it's
okay.
all done at my father's. This one is not, however. This is done at the Naxa factory. So,
Okay.
yep. But it's
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, that first note.
I can smell it off the aroma just from
Oh.
your guys' light up, and I'm smoking it.
Trying to think of what that even is. It's like gosh, what is that?
Well,
The
I'm-
aroma-
Almost like a mini wheat
yeah, I was thinking that. Or
without the frosting.
I keep thinking about
I could
almost cinnamon raisin toast. Like, and I've already
Yeah.
had a drink of the Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond.
I get a ton of. I can't really get past the rich chocolate, like the dark chocolate.
Guess you're lighter.
Yeah.
And there's not a
dark
big-
chocolate.
So, like, you guys retro hill,
Yeah.
right? So, like, I don't get what I love about this cigar that I've been smoking thus far is there's not a ton of pepper
Yeah.
off the retro hail, and I love that. I like to have like a rich cigar, but not a ton of pepper.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a beautifully balanced cigar.
I would agree with that. I was in here on Sunday having one of these myself, and balanced is a really good word for it.
Yeah, there's no like real sharp spice characteristics. It's very, very approachable, I think, to someone that doesn't smoke a lot of cigars.
Sure.
But I think if you want, like, especially in your guys' like sales from day to day, I think it's a great cigar to mention to someone if they want to try something a little bit above medium body.
Yeah.
There's definitely not your traditional like pepper and stuff like that on the retro hail. Like
No.
you're not getting black pepper, you're not getting red pepper here.
I'm
But
getting
what it
some
is
spice.
doing is some baking spice
Yeah,
things. It almost is like cinnamon red hot on
Yes,
the retro
that's-
hail. Like there's a little bit of spice, a little bit of something to zing the nostrils, and it reminds me of like cinnamon.
Isaiah, you bullied me enough.
Yeah.
I did retro hail, and I would agree 100% with that cinnamon
Yeah,
red
it
hots.
definitely has a red hot kind of
It's
note to it,
super
which I
oaky,
like.
though. It's so much
Yeah.
oak, so much oak and leather, like in this.
Well, what's nice about this too is, if you don't retrohale,
Yeah.
there's a ton of flavor in the
Yeah,
mouth.
there
Yeah.
really
When you
is.
retrohale, it just intensifies all the flavors and add all those baking
Bless
spice
you.
notes. So it's going to hit, whether you smoke with a retrohale or not, it's going to hit you both ways.
And I don't know about you guys. I think, I don't know. In my opinion, I get a lot of like salty, like zestiness off of like Nicaraguan jalapa tobacco. I know a lot
I
of
can
people.
see.
I know a lot of people say like it should be like it should be a little sweeter most of the time, but
I'm getting it on my lips.
yeah,
Is that what you get?
I get like a
a little
salt,
salty on the lips.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah, I can't say like across the board because I don't think I paid close enough attention when I'm smoking to jalapa. But I could see that on this cigar for sure.
We've just been using like Crown Heads has been using like a lot of jalapa lately.
Yeah.
Even in the Bosphorus, like one of the binders and that cigar by Tim Osgener.
Okay, I
is
definitely
Nicaraguan
get it in the
jalapa as well.
Bosphorus.
Yeah.
Like it's almost I describe it as briny, but it reminds me of like
Okay.
the same sort of sea salty thing that you get in
I like the brininess.
in a lot of
That's a
in a lot of
good
scotch.
characteristics.
Yeah.
Like where it's just kind of like, oh yeah, this barrel definitely hung out by the sea. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that. So, like the original, the
your
story
lighter.
behind this cigar
Sorry,
was the fact that so in 2011, in the spring of 2011, this tobacco was being planted. So the tobacco's like 10 years old, basically.
Wow.
Okay.
But it's really, really cool because that's when Crowned Heads was formulated, obviously, and it was created in 2011. But when they went down there, they talked to Gustavo, which was the head of Oliva Tobacco Company. And so now he's obviously like with NACSA and heading that whole thing. And so the idea was the storyline was that John and Mike Condor, the owners of Crowned Heads, along with Tim Osgener now, Mike and John went down to Nicaragua and they gifted Gustavo a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue. The rumor is that bottle has still not been opened, but it was supposed to celebrate their friendship and everything that Gustavo had done from the
Yeah.
beginning with their
That's cool.
tobacco.
Yeah. So Eric had read that and told me like, "Hey, this is like I guess a nod to Johnny Walker Blue." And before I had smoked it, I thought, "Oh no."
Yeah. But it has nothing to do with
Yeah,
this.
Yeah.
It's
and
just
I
a cool
appreciate it for that
Yeah.
so much.
It's
Yeah.
purely Azulejo is just
Yeah.
blue and gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Because
John
Johnny
doesn't-
Walker Blue, I don't care what anybody says. There's not a cigar that pairs well with it because it's nasty.
There's not a lot of cigars, unless you really are a heavily peated guy.
Yeah.
Most people are not going to enjoy a peated scotch with a cigar. I love peated scotch, so I can
I
smoke
like Johnny
cigars
Walker
with
Black.
them. And black's fine
Johnny
with,
Walker
with a
Black's
cigar
fine.
too.
And if you talk to Rocky, he always does Johnny Walker Double Black on a big cube or on rocks.
Yeah.
That's his drink. So,
That was funny.
but what do you guys think so far?
So on the palate on this, I totally understand that mini weeds thing that you're talking
Yeah.
about. It's followed up by like by an extremely dark chocolate, like dark chocolate dust.
Is it like a breadiness that like you're getting, or
Oh,
like
yeah.
a graininess?
Totally.
Is
Yeah.
that what, okay.
It
Yeah, that's
started
what I'm
off like a
associating
mini
is
wheat,
that
like
mini
you just
wheat.
chew up a mini wheat.
Yeah.
And now it's becoming more of just like it's very more of the flavors of the mini wheat in more of like a bready kind of form,
Yeah,
which is nice.
Could be closer to like wheat toast or something
Could be.
like that.
Could be.
But
When you get in the middle of it, it's just like super oaky.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
which is good. It's a good thing.
remember
It's still
that.
well rounded. It's not bitter in any means. So that's what I really
All right.
enjoy about
Well, let's
it.
get into the pour with it too, guys.
Yeah. Which the oakiness is probably great with this Heaven Hill.
so the sip
Gosh.
after the smoke, it brought out a lot of almost honey quality
Yeah.
in the Heaven Hill bottled in bond, which I don't typically get there. It's normally closer to like brown sugar,
Yeah.
super oaky,
I normally
light nuttiness. It's almost like a. Well, today it's almost presenting as peanut, but that's like the beam note.
Yeah, normally out of that Heaven Hill 7-year, I always find I always find some sweet cherry in there, and this time around, I would agree with that honey statement.
I got that brininess more off of the Retro Hill now.
Yeah, and less of the spice.
So like
Yeah.
I took a
It mellowed
sip,
the spice out.
and then I did a Retro Hill.
Same here.
And the vapors from like the inside of my mouth, and then blowing the Retro
yeah.
Hill out, I got more of that like salty like brininess.
See,
so
and I
that's
get-
pretty cool.
I get some of that saltiness on the roof of my mouth right now.
Yeah, you're almost like salivating.
Yeah,
right,
yeah. And which
And
again,
it-
we've
bunch
talked
of
about
guys
that
sitting
before.
around a table talking
Yeah.
about salivating.
Yeah.
It's great.
We've talked about that before.
We're here for it.
A lot of great cigars will make your mouth water,
Yeah.
not just because you're enjoying it. You want it. It's because the tobaccos are in it and everything else.
Yeah.
There are some cigars that are great that dry my mouth out, and I just don't enjoy smoking them that often.
Yeah.
The other thing this pour did is it made the bready notes on the cigar a lot less heavy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it
Smoothed it out.
It did.
It definitely
lot.
did. Just great. I mean, they're still there, still present, just not nearly as.
Yeah, I would say it removed any spikes that were there, which, if they were minuscule at all. But it, for me, it lets some of that dark chocolate become less 96% cacao and more like 72%, not near as bitter, so more rich. And
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
it's just a little bit of leather, a little bit of oak, just nice, dark, and heavy.
And what are you guys selling this for?
The cigar itself is $14.39.
Nice.
The pour,
I don't know what it runs.
Probably 12. 11. Yeah.
So yeah, 11 for the pour. So you're looking at $25 on a regular day. You're gonna get this for $22.50, something like that on a pairing.
It's not that bad for
It's
a great
fantastic.
experience.
I agree.
Absolutely.
And what I love about like your guys' place is the fact that you do actually present, bourbon in a Glencairn. So
Yeah.
a lot of places don't really
That was a big
do
deal.
that anymore.
That was a big deal for me. I'm like,
Well, it's not the cheapest way of doing things.
It's
No.
not. And this is our second run here. As you can see, the logo has changed a little bit on the Glens
Oh yeah, it
Yeah, I've
has.
got a
because
new one.
the new manufacturer was actually a little better quality.
What'd you do
Not
with
of
the old
Glens.
ones?
We've been using them.
Oh, okay.
We
That
sold
or
a
breaking
bunch.
Those are
them.
collector's items.
We sold
yeah.
a bunch of them, but we've been using the rest of them up on there.
Yeah.
So
Nice. I'm gonna have to get one of those.
and then we got the new minis. Might as well do some shout out to merch.
There you go.
Got the new mini Glens, the wee Glens.
Yeah.
And these things are awesome. I love those for a flight.
They
you
are.
get the same experience. You get a half-ounce pour in there. It feels more like a 1.5-ounce pour in the
Yeah,
big one, or
good.
maybe a 2. Is that what it
No, so
is
the
it 1 to 2?
Glencairn is designed. The regular Glencairn's designed for 1.5 ounce pour,
Which we do too.
which we do too. But you should thank us for that. We're giving
Yes.
you more whiskey
More
for your
whiskey.
money. But the Weegland's designed perfectly for a half ounce, so you're getting an extremely similar, if not the exact same.
So it's a third size
Yeah.
is what the volume is on it. Okay.
But it's still a proper tasting glass
It
because
is.
of the
Yes.
shape. And honestly, I take Weegland's to bottle shares.
Yep.
Otherwise,
Don't
I
drink
get
as
in
much.
trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
No kidding.
Like you put a 1 ounce pour in a Weegland and you look at it and feel bad. You know?
No, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
No, and I mean, if you go to like most of like barrel picks, like down in Kentucky or really anywhere, I'm sure that they do the little Glencairns as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I remember when we did our Elijah Craig barrel proof pick, they did mini Heaven Hill ones. So,
Yeah.
well,
Speaking of which,
it fits great. And
so I cut these holes out to do flight. We're going to start doing flights here. I drilled them out to fit the mini Glens, so
Yep.
we can put 4 mini Glens on there.
yeah, because that's the bung in the middle, right?
Yeah,
Does it
that's
fit
just the
in there?
bung, which it fits in there just a little bit deeper,
Nice.
but it still fits all the way across. So
Yep.
that'll give us an option to do some flights here soon.
Yeah.
So now we just have the nice task of adding half-ounce pours on every bottle on the menu.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Maybe
That'll
not
be,
Rob.
that'll be
Lisa
coming
will
in
do
December
it.
for sure.
That's
So
it's a pretty short timeline for you.
I didn't say when in December.
Oh,
I said
okay.
December.
Okay.
Might be Christmas, might be New Year's Eve, but
Understandable.
Under promise and over deliver. That's what you got to do.
I don't know if you can tell very well on this, but that burn is
Yeah.
absolutely spectacular.
Stack of dimes there.
Yeah.
It is. It's
Nice solid white ash on this thing. It's beautiful.
I know we're talking about crown heads here, but the way this cigar burns reminds me a ton of the Blackbird Unkind.
It kind of does.
Where it's just
That
a
white
sheet
ash,
of
solid.
ash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I was when they first kind of released it to the reps, or told us about it, that it was coming out. I originally had thought that the way that because we just got pictures of it, I had originally thought that it was going to be another Connecticut broadleaf, because that's been kind of the
It's dark.
Yeah.
trend that Crowned Heads has been going. But I'm really glad that they chose to do this with the Noxa factory. So they really nailed it out. They knocked it out of the park.
So tell us a little bit about the factory. I mean, do you know much about their factory?
I don't know a ton about the factory.
Okay.
Just to be completely honest
Okay.
with you, what I will say is that there's a lot of different brands that have been using the factory for a while. Like Steve Saka,
Yeah.
Mi Querida. If you like the Mi Querida is done there as well.
Cool.
And they do. And also, that was another reason why I thought it was going to be a Connecticut broadleaf, is because they have a really big abundance of Connecticut broadleaf at that factory.
Okay.
So,
Is that where the Le Creme is made?
No, so
That's Pichardo?
Le Creme is Ernesto.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Yes. No, my father. I'm sorry. And then you're testing me here.
Yeah, it's okay.
You're testing
Sorry.
me here.
We
Sorry.
could just look at the bottom of the boxes.
Yeah,
you,
Yeah.
You've met the number one Crown
I do
Head
know.
super fan.
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
know
it's
that the
okay.
Le Patissier is done at Noxa now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the box we have is Pichardo.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
it's
originally
not been released.
done.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. The new
It was
one's right.
originally done at Pichardo.
So, can you tell me, are you guys pulling out of the Pichardo factory for everything?
So right
If you-
now, I
if
can't.
you're not saying anything, don't worry about
I
it.
can't kind of disclose everything that's going on, just because there is legal action going on.
Gotcha.
What I will say is that Mil Diaz and Juarez and CHC series is not changing.
okay.
So
Well, and you love that Mil Diaz
I
exactly
love
where
the
it
Mil
is.
Diaz.
yeah, the Mil Diaz.
You just
I-
don't. Some of those you just don't.
I think
wanna
the
change.
Series E, you could change factories. I'd like to see what it does elsewhere.
Yeah.
Fair. I will say that it's pretty
Not-
cool to see.
It's a good cigar, but it's
I'll-
not the best of the Crown Heads lineup.
I'll give you guys some of the new Bosphorus. So, like, the Bosphorus is now coming out of Ernesto Perez Carrillo's factory
cool.
in the DR. And I can tell you what, that the blend it's already improved.
They're better?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
I can't wait to try that.
I'll let you guys decide on what your thoughts are, but
Yeah.
I believe that it's even better than what it was.
Now,
Okay.
That's
here's an
awesome.
even nerdier question. Do you know where the Pi Synesthesia was made?
That was Pichardo.
Okay.
Yep.
That was actually a good cigar.
Yeah.
It's very good.
The idea behind the Pi Synesthesia was really, really cool. Because
and this was a PCA only release.
Right.
Yes, it
Okay.
was. We still have some available.
Not for me because I've tried to order it and I can't get it.
Really?
Unless you want to.
I'm
some
not
strings.
your rep.
Come on,
Hey.
buddy. Come on, buddy.
Jake,
Come on, Dave.
please-
If you're
please
listening
put in
to
a
this,
good
Dave,
word.
if you're listening to this, Dave.
Come on,
David is
Dave.
not listening to this. He don't
No,
care
he's
about
not. He
us.
doesn't care about us.
No,
yes, he does.
He does. He cares.
He does. I'm teasing.
He's a great guy. So David
Yeah, he is.
Payne's been your guys' rep. I'm just the only reason why I'm here is because I live in Indiana. I'm moving back to Ohio, so I'm glad you guys got me on here.
But you're not moving for a while, are you? Or do you move it up?
Probably 8 months to a year.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
But no, the cool thing about the Pi Synesthesia, if you don't know about it, was kind of a PC exclusive limited edition where it was Ecuadorian Connecticut with an Ecuadorian Sumatra binder. And it's one of my favorite cigars. I keep trying to talk like Tim into making it like a main production.
Well, I when I was in Nashville last, like I went to the shop that got me started on boutiques, which was Smoker's Abbey in East Nashville. I went there and was like, Nate, do you have the Pi Synesthesia? Also the Sfumato in C major, however you say it.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Freaking bought a ton of them. And first of all, that Sfumato in C major, that's a delicious coffee stick.
It's a great morning cigar.
First cigar of the day, delicious. A great follower to that is the Pi Synesthesia.
Yeah.
And I've done that run way too much, and I think I'm down to like the last two of
either
in my humidor.
Whenever I go to a shop and, they're kind of handing me cigars because I hand out cigars, that's what I'm grabbing most of the time. So it was fantastic. The story behind it was the fact that, so Tim Osgener family, the father started CAO in 1968, in their basement, grew it to a, massive cigar company, and then sold it in 2007. The last 10 years of his life, they started a nonprofit organization in Nashville called Oz Family Arts, or Oz Arts.
Yeah.
And what a lot of his paintings were around was color and his disease called synesthesia, where are you guys familiar with?
No.
Okay.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's basically where you associate like a flavor profile with color or a flavor profile with a number, or vice versa. So
it's not really a disease.
Yeah,
it's just like a mental thing.
Oh, yeah.
But
you did tell me about this.
They
That's
name
right.
it.
They call it.
They have a name for it.
They dub it as that.
Okay.
But he made a painting that was based off the number pi. 3.14.
159.
Yeah. We can all do it
Yeah.
in our heads. Try to, at least the first like 5 numbers.
Yeah.
But anyways,
not me.
so he associated the numbers with colors. And if you do get your hands on a Pi Synesthesia, the band on it is the exact painting that he created.
Cool.
So, and then what they did was Tim wanted to formulate a cigar based around the first number, the first release, which was 3 of pi, and his father associated 3 with the color yellow. So then they wanted to find a cigar with kind of a yellowish wrapper, which was the Ecuadorian Connecticut.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then he's going to do, I believe, up to 9 different renditions.
Oh, that's cool.
Or different batches of that cigar. So
It'd be really awesome to see him do like a sample box of all of them down the road.
I'm
when they're all
sure
out.
that's what they're
That'd be
thinking.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what they're thinking.
I keep
that's
thinking
cool.
they need to do that at the Las Calaveras, but I don't know if they have backstock.
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
When that stuff goes out,
Just
it
go down
goes
to
out.
Smoker's
goes out.
Choice. You can get all of them back like 47 years, can't you? No, at least the last 3 or 4.
all they have is 21 there.
Oh, they're down to 21s because we got 2018s and 19s when we were there.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found a
2018.
place with some 15s.
Really? You're
Yeah.
going to have to let me know when we get done here.
It's in Connecticut.
I might have to call them up.
Yeah,
We'll drive up here this weekend.
It's a
and get
good
'em.
time. But much like the Pi Synesthesia, that one was done as a 2,500 box batch.
Yeah.
And then this is done the same way. So 12 count box, kind of side by side or stacked, if you will. And the artwork on the box is beautiful, dark, royal blue, navy blue, whatever you want to call it, and then the gold accents. So
Yeah.
But 2,500 box batch.
Okay.
Yeah. That's such a good cigar.
It's so,
So what he's saying is you need to get in here and try this pairing because they're not going to last long.
Exactly.
Because I would assume you guys are probably getting pretty low on stock now, if not almost out.
I mean, sales are really good, but I think, to be quite frank with everybody, I think a lot of people this year they're, with retailers, they're kind of backing off because they know the slower months are coming. In my opinion, I'm a little bit different, not just because I'm selling the cigar to you guys, but my retail days, I always wanted to beef up stock because we knew Christmas was coming.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and December, at least from my experience, was always a really, really big month. And you tried to sell out of everything that you had.
I mean, and it's interesting here at Final Third, like, it's kind of, I have seen other shops where it's like a rare occasion where somebody buys a whole box.
Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah.
Like,
We get them quite often.
we get box sales
Yeah.
once a day, at
Pretty
least.
close to that, yeah.
Yeah.
But you got to think of your guys' clientele here, like you're kind of out in the country, you have people that probably have bigger garages and there's a little bit of money out here, so they probably have cigar rooms.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and
So-
I mean, we're pulling from, 15 minutes down the road in Geist and
Yep.
and Fishers and all that too, which, there's quite a bit of money down there and people coming out here and
Exactly.
and they have a place to come inside and enjoy, and that's part of the culture we're trying to create here is community and coming in here and hanging out and making friends. And honestly, what better thing to do in the winter than to come sit inside and smoke a cigar and
Absolutely.
hang out with some buddies. So,
Well, even your cigar garden, you have heat lamps, right? And then you kind of close
Yeah.
it off a little bit.
well, and I've got a new heater that's going to hopefully be able to heat it up for the whole winter too.
That's awesome.
So it's going to cost us a lot of money to run it because it's going to be basically a big tank of propane every day.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? It's for science.
You're worth it.
You're worth it, people.
Even me?
No.
You're worth it too, Eric.
You're not.
Oh,
worth it,
thanks.
Eric.
I'm
And
not
by-
worth it, Isaiah.
And by gosh, people like you.
Yeah, he
I
brings
don't
whiskey.
know. I don't know why.
You bring whiskey.
You bring whiskey.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's really
It
simple.
is a perk. Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's right. You guys got to get with me after this. There is a bottle hiding in the car.
No, there's not
No, there's
anything
not.
hiding in the car. No.
No.
No, we would,
No.
no, that's not how we run shop around here.
Well, after hours.
not until we
Oh,
close.
no,
Until we
no,
close.
not even after hours. Yeah, no, we would never do that.
Never.
No, we would never.
I'll
I
get
will
with
say-
ya.
So I will say on the cigar, it's definitely become more mild in the medium, and definitely on that lower end of medium now.
Yeah.
And that, like you were talking about, the oakiness is starting to come out more in the cigar.
For sure.
What-
But I'm not getting a lot of spice on the retrohale right now.
I'm not. It's almost more like a sweet wheat toast on the palate for me. Or
It'd be interesting to try this with Starlight's. I always call it the cinnamon toast crunch.
oh, the cigar
yeah,
batch.
cigar batch.
Pick,
yeah.
but the cigar batch.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that just overpowers every
So
cigar.
sweet.
It
it's
is.
so,
So
sweet.
sweet, yeah.
Well,
it's so interesting. It's a
you're-
great.
I have 5 bottles at the house, and it is just. I would never call it cigar batch in a million years because it is literally.
It just came out very interesting.
Yeah, it is literally cinnamon toast crunch and a great way to beat up any cigar you're smoking with it.
I will tell you, we just did a barrel pick. I don't think I've told you yet this, but
Oh.
I saw pictures.
with backbone.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm telling you, that one, in my opinion, might be what we should be calling a cigar batch.
Okay.
That
We're-
thing
we're gonna be
was
coming
just
close.
Nice.
Smoky.
It's well, not real smoky,
No,
but it's got
it's,
sherry,
sherry,
port, and Amaro barrels.
Yeah.
It's
And-
real dark. It's real oily. I think it can hold up.
I think it'll hold up.
Like-
Did you
nice.
do it as well?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. We had 6 of us on the pick, and it was just a blast.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott, he's one over here too. He was on the pick with
Yeah,
us.
Scott DeShong.
So everybody's here on the pick except for Chris right now.
So I always,
So-
I always like to ask.
It's like a
guys
reunion.
this when we're doing like a pairing. So like, do you guys normally pair the cigar with your drink, or do you normally pair the drink with the cigar?
Oh, we always go cigar,
Cigar
then
and
drink.
then drink. Yeah.
Okay. So your cigar is the base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Rob and I had a
unless
hard
we get a
time
brand new
figuring
bottle
out.
in. If we get a new bottle in and we're like, we really want to do this, like the Maverick, when we first looked at that one, we were
Yeah.
thinking about doing that one, but the cigar we wanted to work perfect with it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's usually we want to showcase the cigar because that's what we want to start with anyway.
Which we originally last week wanted to do the Maverick with the La Creme, but we knew you were going to come on, so,
So
we
we-
can't do Crown Heads 2 weeks in a row.
we could, but We had another one to do, too.
I would be happy.
You
but,
could. Which we do got to finalize our event. So I got the okay from David on that
Awesome,
one.
awesome.
But, yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about that? Well, go ahead and finish what you're saying, Eric.
I will say it all depends on the day. When I go to the humidor, it might be, you know what, I really want to smoke this cigar today, so what can I get that's going to go with it? Or it might be, I really want to drink this bottle of whiskey today, so what cigar is going to play nice with it?
Right.
It really
Makes
just
sense.
depends how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I'm normally pairing my cigar with the bourbon, just because that was my first love. So,
Okay.
but either way, I think this is a great pairing.
Oh, yeah, this is delicious.
There are bottles I've got at the house that I would just never drink with a cigar. Like Starlight Cigar Batch. That's one of those for me. When it first came out, they touted the Oliva Serie V Milano as like the perfect pairing for it.
What?
And they gave them all out to us at the event. And
Interesting.
I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had my fair share of cigars.
But granted, it wasn't the cigar; it was the pairing.
No,
because that.
I
in
love
my
that
opinion, I'm the
whiskey
same
on
way
its
as you.
own. Like it's a perfect Christmas pour for me. It tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch all day long, and I am a man of size, so I'm gonna enjoy whiskey that tastes like Cinnamon Toast
See,
Crunch.
and I'm not a huge fan of that cigar batch, which that's
love
fine.
it.
I think-
Rob accidentally left his bottle
Accidentally on purpose.
at a bottle share.
You're welcome, Cole.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that if you put it in with some vanilla ice cream, you would have a heck of a bourbon milkshake.
Yeah, I mean, it tastes like a Cinnabon. It's crazy.
I'm gonna have to try that.
You invite me over when we do that.
You know what? Bluebell just released an oatmeal cream pie ice cream.
Oh, things that make my fat heart
It's
happy.
like all fat kids go
I
right to the
know,
TV
I
and start
know.
licking it.
So are you guys taking a sip first, or are you taking a puff first, and then
We go both ways.
Yeah,
we go both ways, Jake.
Okay. Time for me to leave.
We don't discriminate either way. No, that's the thing we like to do. We like to go back and forth because it changes so much.
I'm getting more. I'm starting to reach my final third of my cigar, and
FinalThirdCigar.com.
Yeah, and I'm starting to
lighter?
reach
you
that
need the-
point of the cigar, and I think I'm getting more of that sweetness, which you normally don't get, out of a cigar most of the time. You're gonna get more of a bitiness, but this is actually smoothing out, which is kind of interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, so right now where I'm at is I'm just finishing up the first third, hopping into the second.
Same here.
And the retro hill's finally coming back for me, but it's almost it's more like oak char than it is anything on the retro hill for me. Still kind of that cinnamon baking spice note, but that's kind of what's living there. On the palate, especially after a sip, it's sweet like wheat bread.
Yeah. And there's the sweetness underneath it. It's just, the mouth-watering sweetness is nice.
Yeah, I think that's you.
It's not buttery. Oh, we're not going there again? Okay.
Yeah, it's buttery, ice cream,
vanilla bean.
hardly any
orange in this
hardly
one.
any orange. It's a joke to another
we'll
I'm
tell you.
aware.
to another
I'm
show
aware of it.
where they reviewed. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
don't go.
say
It's fine.
where they
We
reviewed.
don't need to
I thought it
name
was a
drop
joke
here.
to Eric Espinoza.
No.
Because normally he always, to Eric, it's like good tobacco or bad tobacco.
Yeah.
And he gets pissed when people talk about the Laranja because
Yeah.
it's orange, right?
Yeah.
But
Definitely has an orange
It
zest
has
note
orange
on
zest when
it.
you light it up. I'm telling you.
Definitely does.
I don't even tell people that, and they'll light it up and they'll say, "Oh, what am I getting there? It's like citrusy." I'm like, exactly. But you are right, though. There is some subliminal things going on when you see a band with a color.
yeah,
Well,
look
it's
at,
like the
times you
Rojas blue bonnets.
Yeah,
Like,
you get blueberry notes in it. I mean, it's nuts.
or look at Crux.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Like
oh,
Crux's Epicure Maduro, I could have sworn I was like tasting mint.
Yeah.
Really?
And a lot of
So-
times you'll get a red band. You'll think, first thing you're thinking is, oh, I'm getting red pepper spice on the retro. I'm like,
Yeah.
are you really?
I mean, you'll get that out of me if I'm smoking an Alma Fuego from Plasencia, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that is red pepper.
Yeah.
Hardly. That thing's an earth bomb.
No, Alma Fuego, not
Fuego,
Alma
he
Oh,
said.
Fuerte.
yeah, Fuego. Yes. No, you're right.
Yeah.
That's
Come
why
on,
I
get
like
your
the
get your
Fuego.
placencias right,
Yeah.
Isaiah.
Well, yeah, that
Come
Fuego and that's volcanic soil too. So you get a lot of that earthiness. It's
Yeah.
it's really earthy.
That
I get what you're saying now.
that Alma Fuerte is
Do you do the Panatella or which size do you do?
the
Salomon,
Yeah,
the
the
Sixto.
Salomon.
Okay.
Salomon and the 7.
Oh, the Forte. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the Fuego.
Yeah, you're thinking of the red band. I'm
Yeah,
thinking of
I
the
am.
black
The
Yeah,
band.
my bad.
Fuego's a ton better than the Fuerte, but
You just,
he's an earthy guy. He just loves earthy cigars.
I do. I can't help it.
Hey,
Earthy,
Nothing wrong
dark
with that.
notes.
Something for
are-
everybody.
Yeah, I mean, what did it get? Like 94 or something on like Cigar Aficionado when it
Yeah.
first came
Oh,
out?
I don't care. I just knew that it was highly rated. I didn't even know that it was highly rated. I watched a bunch of reviews on it before I ever was really into cigars, and I managed to land the job that I have, and I went and bought one for myself because they're like $22 a pop.
They have great
Then
tobacco.
you came in here and bought a box for yourself, and you smoked all of them.
Yes, I did.
Well, he gave one to
He gave
Dan.
a few out. No, he gave. I would say you probably gave almost half that box to friends to hanging out.
Probably.
I did just shout out Dan Hart, so we
Oh,
gotta
cheers.
We gotta cheers,
Cheers, Dan
Dan.
the cigar
Cheers,
man.
Dan,
Cheers to
cigar
Dan.
man. I got you, Eric.
Ding.
I got you. Thank you.
This is another something we do. Our regulars that get talked about, you just
We
cheers
cheers
them.
Now, when we get to talk about a lot of people, we get pretty hammered.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah, and if you need a refill, just
We got more.
holler,
All right.
You know.
Well, I think, I know Dan. So he came.
Yeah, you met Dan.
He'd
Yeah,
come
yeah.
down to Burn
Yeah, actually,
with him and his
yeah,
wife.
yeah.
and-
Yep. Dan's an awesome guy.
Dan and
actually,
Jamie.
I think
Yeah.
Dan knew you better than I did. For way before I did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
something like words.
So
words.
Jake, here's the question:
All right.
Are you related to the Colonel in any way?
I'm not.
Oh,
I
man.
wish I was.
That is so sad.
I wish I was, but I do want to. When I have some time, I do want to get my Kentucky Colonel certificate.
So that you can officially be Colonel Sanders?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Nice.
So if you didn't know Miguel, surprisingly, I whether it's surprising or not, but he's a Kentucky Colonel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What does it actually take to become a Kentucky Colonel?
It's a status.
You have to eat 47 buckets of chicken in one setting.
Are we counting all the ones that I've already eaten
No,
up to
all
this
in
point?
one setting.
No,
Oh, God.
it's just a status, like a Kentucky status.
So, I do own a small portion of land in
land.
Scotland
So do
because I
I.
bought a lot of Lefroy.
Same.
So I am a lord.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Lord Rob.
Lord
I think
Rob.
all of your space is stacked up vertically. You still only
It
have
probably
No,
is.
I want to go over there and say I've got 14 square feet. I'm going to set up a lawn chair and just sit in the middle of Ireland. Or
Honestly,
Scotland.
14 square feet, pretty good. You
wouldn't
should
be
make
too
it
bad.
20 and we can set up a hut.
Problem is, it's going to be like one here, 1.5 miles over there, one over there. Stand on one foot.
I wonder if they legitimately do
Oh, God,
track
no.
who's where.
Yeah, there's no way.
No.
Well, it's just about like Maker's Mark having like your name on a barrel. Once
It's probably
you
like
become
the
a Maker's
whole buy
Mark
yourself
ambassador.
a star and name your wife after it or something like that. You ever seen those?
Yes.
You can buy a star. Like, that's mine right there. That's it.
So you have to present your application to be a Kentucky Colonel to the Kentucky governor,
Okay.
and he has to bestow that honor upon you.
He's probably just like, hey, did you pay the fee?
And for
Sure,
a low
great.
cost of $99.99, you can be a colonel too.
Yeah. Well,
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
I mean, the same thing. can
Get
be
the warranty plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, for another $300.
Well, the same thing. I mean, same thing can be said about the bourbon trail. You know,
Oh, yeah.
those distilleries have to pay so much per year,
Yeah.
and it's like I didn't realize
It's
how much.
$250,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and the funny thing is like Wilderness Trail was asked to be a part of it, but I'm sure they didn't get any break on that.
Oh, I'm sure not.
They might.
They don't need to.
Well, no,
Yeah.
not
Their stuff is
anymore.
fantastic.
Not anymore. Yeah,
Not
no.
anymore. They just sold it all out for $600 million.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Where'd it go?
Sazerac.
Really?
No.
No.
No,
No,
Campari.
Campari.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Wild Turkey bought it.
Yeah, they bought
Wow.
it.
I
No.
did not know that.
The
When did that
group
happen?
owns
Yeah.
The group
Turkey.
that owns Turkey. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna
The
be.
people responsible for changing your bottles 70 times.
Look,
Yeah.
You're gonna get him
no,
started.
I can tell you who's responsible for that, and that is the head or their creative director, who doesn't need to be a creative director, and that is Matthew freaking McConaughey. I think he's funny. I think he's a good actor. You don't need to be the creative director for Wild Turkey, and you do not need to have Long Branch on the shelves.
All right,
Taking
all right,
up
all
of my
then.
8-year-old product.
all right.
Because in Japan, I can go get Wild Turkey 101 8-year every day of the week.
All right,
I can't
Eric.
get it here.
Simmer down. Simmer down.
Sir,
You'll be
you
fine.
have found a hot button issue.
I know. I know.
You don't like
Yeah.
mesquite in your whiskey?
No.
So
God made oak, and it was perfect.
I did listen to McConaughey's show or book he wrote called Green Light.
Oh,
you ever
God.
seen it?
No.
And it's just him just talking about his life, and it's actually hilarious because he's reading it.
Yeah.
And it's like his entire career is based on the fact that he ad-libbed and said, all right,
Right, all right.
in a B-rate movie. That was his whole career right there.
He wasn't even supposed to be in the movie.
No,
No.
he wasn't. He wasn't supposed to be in the movie. He wasn't supposed to say that either. He forgot his lines and
And
started
that,
just talking.
and if you look back at that
That's
movie,
amazing.
it was completely star-studded.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
it was.
yeah.
And
What
nobody
movie-
had
what
He
any
was
movie
the
idea.
was
nobody.
it?
I
Dazed
don't
and
know.
Dazed and
Confused.
Oh, yeah,
Confused.
Dazed and
okay.
Confused, yeah.
Gotcha.
It was completely star-studded.
Yeah.
You had, you had Ben Affleck, you had Matthew McConaughey, you had Cole Hauser, you know,
Yep.
the star of like Yellowstone now. So
Yeah, yeah.
and there was a few other people too. I mean, it
There
was
were
pretty
quite a
wild.
few.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild how many stars were in that movie before their time. So, I'm a big movie buff. You can't tell.
That's a fun topic
Well,
to
and
talk
you've
about.
got Dazed and Confused. Then you can go to Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and that's another star-studded movie.
Yeah. Yep.
How many
I'm
times
not
did you
familiar
pause the
with
movie at the certain time with
At a
a
certain-
young lady pulling out of the pool?
Me, never. I was
Liar.
more of an Animal House guy.
Liar. Well, Porky's was the one because Porky's you just keep watching the show and they're just going to keep bouncing all the way through.
And we got the explicit tag now. Good job, Rob.
I was talking about basketballs. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, we haven't cussed yet on my old podcast.
Yeah, normally
Yeah.
Rob will do it first.
Gotta get more liquor in me.
I'm trying to be good for once.
Liquor?
Which is
Nearly killed. No.
On my old
Liquor, I
podcast,
barely
man,
know
we
her.
just let it fly. It was pretty wild.
What's that?
On my old podcast, we used to just let it fly.
It's okay.
We do
don't
too.
care.
We do
yeah.
too.
No, we don't care.
So
one
I do
bit.
have a serious question though. So this past year, looking back on the entire year, do you have like 2 or 3 cigars that came out this year? It doesn't have to be Crown Heads. It can be Crown Heads that you were like, this was an
Okay.
amazing release
This
this
is
year.
Jake being Jake,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
Jake from Crown
No,
Heads.
that's fine.
And I
That's
mean,
fine.
if it's a Crown Heads, that's totally fine. But
Well, no, and that's why I love. I mean, I'll start off by saying that's what I love about working for Crown Heads was the fact that they're very freedom oriented. You know, they know good tobacco. So
Yeah.
you know, even John himself will say like who has great tobacco, and he'll talk about it and stuff like that. So I really do love working for him. But man, as far as my 3.
3, 5, whatever.
Yeah. You know, I got to say, so my old shop that I used to work at in Ohio when I first got my start, Tinderbox Easton, we were very big Espinosa fans.
yeah,
So, and I've kind of always stayed that. I've always been an Espinosa fan. I got to say, I really do love the Espinosa 10.
yeah.
The 10th anniversary is fantastic.
Does
I
it
agree.
remind you of the knuckle sandwich Habano?
A little bit.
A little bit, not near as spicy on the retro
It's a
hell.
li- it's a little too close for comfort.
It's a little smoother.
But I think it is better.
Yeah. What else? I do really like this year's Las Calaveras
Okay.
a lot. I think that cigar is
Yeah,
fantastic.
you talking about fresh Las Calaveras or like Las Calaveras
Now.
plus 3 months?
Plus 3 months.
Yeah.
I'll tell. Yeah,
gotcha.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I've got one in the
Because
humidor just waiting.
Yeah.
It really took they came off good, but that Toro especially needed a little bit more time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then
With a bigger size.
and then
Well, and it's a 54 too,
right.
so it is a bigger ring gauge.
yeah. Yeah, those are always big Toros.
It's
Yeah.
not a true Toro like this one.
No, it's a 54.
Yeah.
And if you talk to like John or any, it's the Sublime size or Sublime,
Yeah.
as some people call it. But
What do they call it?
Sublime,
Sublime.
it's kind of a running
The
joke.
Serie E Sublime.
Yeah,
It's not the
Oh my
Serie, it's the
God.
Serie.
Serie E.
Serie.
Serie.
Wow.
As far as my third, I don't, man, I can't. Nothing's like popping out in my head, to be honest.
Okay.
So I think those are the big two that really like stand out to me this year.
That's awesome.
So I do smoke a lot of other blends and other factories and other cigar manufacturers, but I mean, I've told you this, Rob, is I'm a big Corojo fan. So I just kind of, I'd like to go back and smoke other stuff.
Yeah.
That older stuff, because I am, younger. I'm 27, so there's a lot of things that, came out before I did start smoking cigars.
Yeah.
And obviously there's the tried and trues. So like
Yeah.
Oliva V, even though, it's not a Corojo, but Oliva V Torpedo is one of my favorites.
That is a great smoke.
I love Krishna Roa's tobacco. Just like the original or the natural, like Aroa.
Yeah.
I love that cigar. That's a great cigar.
Have you had much from the Aladino line?
I have.
Okay.
Since I've been coming here, I have. I have.
The Corojo Reserva.
Especially
Yeah.
at
That's
number
a
4. I love
special-
the little
Oh, that
fire
Have you had the
number-
number 4?
I
It's the little Corona.
don't know if I've had that one.
Okay.
Because I don't
Yearly
normally
release.
smoke those kind of sizes. So
Gotcha.
Well,
I've had to get used to that with Crown
Well, and
Heads,
the
because John
Toros-
really likes his
yeah.
smaller sizes. But
I'd say the regular release, the Robusto, is the best size, and then
Yeah.
the Toro is the second, in my opinion. But that Corona is
this
just
number 4
delicious.
is flavor bomb. It's
It's
crazy.
a firecracker, man.
It is.
Yeah.
oh, and I guess I will say as my third, I would say like the Pie Synesthesia.
Yeah.
As far as Crown Heads goes, I love that cigar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
It's
and
stellar.
those cigars aren't in that order. But,
Yeah,
But
no.
I was thinking, and the Pie really stood out.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's cool, man.
Okay. Now here's something that we ask all of our guests. 3 bottles. Your special occasion pour,
Oh, geez.
your everyday drinker, and your budget. Special occasion pour can be a bottle that you love and don't have, or a bottle you have.
Or one
Like,
you're
I'm
hunting
just talking
hard
about
for.
your all-time, like, you just got married, you had a baby, like, this is the pour I would want to have then.
That would probably be Eagle Rare 17
Okay.
Okay.
by
that's-
far. I have a buddy. His name's Chad, and him and I have become really close friends.
I would too if he had an Eagle Rare 17.
Well,
No, I'm
he's
just kidding.
he's a great dude, and we live a mile away from each other. So if we drink too much, we just walk. So it's kind of fun. But
Miles a long distance when you're drunk, though.
yeah, but it can also be fun.
That's fair.
So whenever we go over to each other's places, we try to go, every other. He comes to my place, I'll go over to his. And we just did a Friendsgiving at his place where they cooked dinner and everything. And he brought out all of his, Buffalo Trace antique collection. And it was very, very nice. And I do the same thing when he comes over, if there's only, I probably have 170 plus bottles now. And there's probably 10 that are off limits. So, we just, and that's what it's about, right? But
Yeah.
I would say like Eagle Rare 17 would be my kind of pinnacle
Yeah.
of what, my celebration pour would be. I really, really love the old Boone County stuff when they
Yeah.
first started. And I don't get corrected about bourbon a lot. But I was in Buffalo, New York, and a guy corrected me with bourbon about Boone County because I always thought it was MGP at the beginning, and it wasn't.
Nope.
I believe it was originally Heaven Hill, but I don't think they've really
they've never disclosed it.
The only thing he said was they bought how many barrels from a Kentucky distillery.
Yeah,
Well, then
and
that would
and,
mean Heaven Hill or
Beam.
Beam.
And here's
But
the
it
thing:
don't
if
taste
you
like Beam.
exactly, if you've ever tasted it, it does not have that Beam note.
You're talking.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite bottle. Everybody has their favorite bottle. Was a Justin's House of Bourbon Boone County 12-year-old pick, and it was 122.1 proof.
Yeah.
And this stuff, it just tasted like dark chocolate covered raisins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
And
Is it a weeded?
No.
Okay.
No, it was a 12-year-old bourbon, and this stuff was black. in the bottle. So
Amazing.
that's one of my like favorite bottles. I still have. I had 7 different picks at one time. I've drank through them. My last, I have this much of a Go Blue pick from down there, Go Blue Liquors
yep.
or whatever from down in Kentucky.
Yep, I know whatever you're talking.
And then the last bottle is signed by the master distiller there, and I probably won't drink that. So
Have you ever stopped into Boone County?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't seen it since they've done their renovation the last couple years. But
Yeah, so I was there last year around Labor Day.
Thank you.
And talk about a very nice facility to go
Yes,
to.
state of the art.
Beautiful place, beautiful bar, great atmosphere. I had a great time there. But speaking of Boone County, I'll have to get with you another night. I've got a 7-year pick of Boone County from a store back home
Very nice.
that you'll have to. I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on.
I have a couple 6s, and they're fantastic. As far as my third goes, man, you know what I really, really miss is just like the original Elijah Craig 12.
Yeah.
I've seen you posting your pirate bottles.
Yeah. I really miss just that old, you're talking about like a $25 bottle
Yep.
of bourbon. And then, they went to doing the 12-year, age. They went away from the 12-year age statement, and now it's like a blend between 6 and 8, sometimes 10 with the batches. But, now all the Elijah Craig barrel proofs are the batches of the 12 years.
Yep.
So they don't have enough for, the small batch anymore.
Sure.
So
You'll appreciate this. This
Yeah,
was
barrel
my this was my victory pour
hazmat.
after I got engaged. It was-
hazmat.
So tell them.
Oh, it was
What's your-
I don't remember the exact batch number, but it was one of the early bottles of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof at
Nice.
140.2 proof.
Dang.
Hazardous material. Can't
Yeah.
take it on the plane.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's
And
pretty
it
awesome.
was stellar.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about this on here. We've got the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C922 batch back here.
Yeah, it's good.
It's one of my favorite that I've had of all time of the Elijah Craigs.
My
I've not had a ton of them.
Yeah.
Of the ones I've had.
The C919
Yep.
was definitely one that kind of blew my doors off,
Okay.
figuratively and physically, just because it was 136 proof.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh wow.
That's
But it was so smooth you expect it to be rich, but it was so smooth and also rich at the same time, and also being 136 proof. It's
Yeah.
just wild how great that cigar was, or that whiskey was. But it was interesting because we were just down at Elijah Craig last week, me and my buddy, and we did the bottle your own.
that's a
thing.
great time, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, and we paid like $40, and you go in, you got your choice between Bernheim 7 cast strength, and then a Larceny barrel proof cast strength, or Larceny barrel proof, and then Elijah Craig barrel proof to bottle your own. And Herb was kind of the tour guide, and it's pretty interesting because he was my tour guide during the Connoisseur Tour back in 2000 and trying to think when I turned 21, 2016, and he was the guy that kind of did the whole tour, and he's still there, and he's a great tour guide. If a lot of people talk about Freddie at Buffalo Trace,
Yep.
but if you want to have a great experience at Heaven Hill down in Bardstown, go see, try to ask for Herb, and he's a great guy. But they were saying that through the years, we had asked the question of why has the proof dropped on the Elijah Craig batches in
Yeah.
the last, couple years. And it was because they said it's like 20 barrels or something like that, a batch.
Really?
Yeah, so that's a lot of barrels going out the door at 12 years old. And, so if people are, wondering why they can't get stuff, that's why. You're talking about a barrel. I mean, what were you doing 12 years ago? And that's how long those barrels have been sitting
I certainly wasn't drinking.
in the rick house, and then they just dump them all, and they go out and they're sold.
Yeah.
So they said that the only barrels that they had were all these old barrels that were sitting on like the first, second, and third tier, and then so those are lower
ABV.
proofages,
Yep.
like proofage, because of the moisture that's in the bottom of the rickhouse rather than the
Yep.
top. So, but cool news is that Herb told us that they're ramping up for next year. So
Heck
I think
yes.
we're going to start seeing, if you're a Heaven Hill fan and Elijah Craig fan, I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of that, 125, 130.
Oh, yeah.
When we did our Bottle Your Own, I know I've been talking for a while, but
No, keep going, buddy.
I did the Bottle Your Own of the Elijah Craig, and it was 131 proof, and they had a couple of 13, 14-year barrels in there.
Oh, that's
Oh, that's awesome.
So
I think mine, when I did the Bottle Your Own back in May, I think mine was right around 130 as well. It was either 129 or 131, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yep.
And it's so darn good.
it's really good.
But you spoke about C919. Have you ever had B520?
Yeah.
That is my all-time favorite
Really?
batch.
What was the proof on that? Do you remember?
I want to say it was 127.
Yeah, it wasn't like super hot.
It wasn't super high, but it was so dark fruit forward.
It was. I remember that. It didn't taste like Heaven Hill.
It almost didn't, no. Because the rye spice was almost gone out of
It reminded me of Boone County a little bit.
It was so good, and that's why I've got 3 bottles still sitting on my shelf.
Nice.
That's about the only bottle I've ever hoarded.
One of the most interesting thing about Elijah Craig recently has been those picks, those single barrel picks. The only thing is I know of a couple different groups that picked one, and somehow they mysteriously drop a couple proof points in the bottling line.
Huh.
Yeah.
Ours did not at burn.
Okay.
Ours raised an entire proof point.
Wow.
Yeah. We when we picked it back in March of this year
Can I see your lighter again?
at Burn, we went down there as a group, and that was like that was like a amazing experience for myself, since I'm a huge Elijah Craig fan anyways.
So when they do it, are they just giving you like 3 barrels to choose from?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We had 3 barrels. We walked into Warehouse Y, I believe. It's the first rick house. It's one of the oldest rick houses on site, but it's the first rick house. And when you drive to the Heaven Hill Experience in Bardstown, and we went down there, and they had 3 barrels laid out for us, and they had like the mini Glencairns. They had a whole table set up for us and everything. What made it very, very cool was that they allowed us to thief the whiskey out of the barrel in the same copper thief that Parker Beam used
Oh, wow.
back in the day.
That's
so
cool.
like the thing was like solid copper. It was actually pretty heavy.
Yeah.
It was all dented up and everything. So it was really, really great experience. And then we got to try the whiskey, and then they let us drink around the warehouse or the rick house. They let us just walk and roam around the rick house, like inside. And that's one of the if I could go down there and somebody just like left me alone for 3 hours, I would just like look around at the dates on like all the barrels. So that was an amazing experience.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But we picked the third barrel out of the lineup. And it was a week off of its 11th birthday. So they couldn't technically say that it was 11 years old. It was 10 years old and 11 months. And it was originally like 125.7 proof, and it ended up being like 126.8 when we first got it. But you're talking about going from March to May when we got it.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
Now, how long was it before they actually dumped it and bottled?
it was dumped in May.
So that it would have become an 11-year-old at that point.
So it was a week, like I said, it was a week off of its 11-year
Oh,
birthday.
when
after
they
it was
bottled it.
dumped.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay. I thought that's when you were thieving it.
No.
Okay, I got you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no. It's pretty amazing experience. So, but I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's cool. We got to do second,
Well,
third notes on this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Jake's into the first third again on
Yes.
his, but Rob, what are you getting in the second, third? We're almost rolling into the final third. This is a oily wrapper.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
it's-
crazy.
It's the strength level is starting to kick up more.
Yeah.
Definitely getting more of that. Getting cinnamon on the palate still.
Yeah.
But getting that dark toast, like over toasted toast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's even a little bit of, I hate to say, it's almost like a little bit of an espresso kind of in there.
Okay.
I'm feeling a little bit of
I could see
espresso
that.
on the palate a little bit too. And
Yeah.
I haven't had a sip in a minute, but just on the cigar itself, it's definitely kicking up in strength. It's definitely in that medium to medium plus range right now, probably.
Yeah. So on the retrohale of the cigar, you're getting more cedar. It is more of that woody note in there, and still cinnamon. But it's definitely leaning more like cedar-ish, leather, in that sort of vein
Maybe
for
a
me
little,
right now.
maybe a little oaky, like a toasted oak, or instead of cedar. I don't know if
that-
I'm getting the cedar as much as the
Okay.
oaky.
I'd
kinda
say
note.
more toasted oak too.
That's where I was going to go. I was getting a lot of oak and leather with
Definitely leather. Yeah.
not so much cinnamon, more baking spices,
well, that's why I'm
allspice all
talking more
around.
cinnamon spice, not cinnamon red hot.
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
would say
getting.
more cinnamon spice, and definitely that toasted oak, or at least just some kind of oak. It is there. It is darn good, and oily is a very good descriptor. But
And my
it's-
gosh, it's making that whiskey taste.
Better.
it's changing it
Beautiful.
up.
Yeah, it is still like
Gotta get that
the
bottle.
whiskey for me is still it still pulls out more of that honey note. Now it's
Yeah.
like distinctly a clover honey, but it also accentuates a lot of that oak presence on the whiskey.
It does.
Which I mean, it's only 7 years old and at 100 proof. But
It does take
it
the
is
hug
really
out of the 100 proof though. a little
Definitely.
bit.
It does.
Yeah.
I would say though, if I still get the honey, but I get a little bit of almost like a hot honey to it now. The rye spice is starting to come back for me,
okay.
just a little bit, and it creates a very nice distinction because this is, in a very good way, very flatlined in its flavor. It's there, it's prevalent, but you don't have a ride with it. You know exactly what you're getting, and you take a sip of that, and it helps make that roller coaster, that kind of up down
Interesting.
feeling for me.
I'd even say because I don't smoke like a ton of full bodies like back to back, but just going from like the final third like back to relighting this cigar.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a cigar that you can smoke like multiple times if that's kind of the person that you are.
Totally.
And
Oh,
I
yeah.
find that that's one of the quality control aspects that I see in like the cigars that I really enjoy.
The other thing that I just got on the palate was that brininess we were talking
Yeah.
about. It's like after what I'm perceiving to be like more wheat toast on the palate, that supercharred toast.
It's
And
even
then
more so when you get down to the
then
blue ribbon.
right at the end, you get that slight like sea salt brininess.
Well, and I'm still in the second third, towards the end of the second third. I'm actually getting and maybe just my palate today. I'm getting a little bit, just on the roof of the mouth, a little bit of almost a minty kind of note to it. Just hitting my top of my mouth.
Are you just talking about like a fresh quality?
Yeah, like a fresh mint.
Okay.
Yeah. Not like peppermint or anything like that, just a fresh kind of mintiness, like it's cleaning your palate.
Yeah, this cigar tastes like toothpaste.
No.
No, it does not.
No,
No,
it
it
does not.
doesn't.
No, but I mean, it's just
Distinct notes of Colgate.
you know cigars that clean you when you
Yeah.
get done smoking them.
Yeah.
They leave your palate feeling fresh. That's what
Yeah.
I'm getting on this.
Yeah.
That kind of a fresh, almost mintiness to it.
Yeah, it's like I said, I had this on Sunday, and I even texted Jake about it
He did.
because I was so impressed with it. It's so full of flavor, yet it doesn't beat you up by having all that flavor.
Right.
And its balance is just so darn good. I really enjoy it.
This is as true of a medium as you can possibly get.
You think so?
It just stays in that realm the entire time.
See, I feel like it's just a
I-
tick above medium right
Really?
now.
Just from his exhale that he did, that's why I go like medium to full.
Yeah.
'Cause
Okay.
It's such a thick smoke.
I would say it's medium
Okay.
plus.
Maybe
myself.
the body itself is
Yeah.
still like medium. But
Yeah.
as far as like just the thickness of the smoke is I think it's more like medium to full.
So,
Interesting.
See, and I
so,
attribute the smoke and the flavor more to the body.
Yes.
And and the strength is just kind of that what lays on your palate, hangs
Yeah.
on you.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting the strength. I am
Forgive me
getting
as
the
I
body.
am the newer guy around here. Why do you attribute the smoke output to a fuller cigar?
Honestly, it's just something that I've always been told.
Okay,
I think
that's
again. I don't think it's fuller as in strength. It's fuller in body.
Yeah.
Like a lot of
I agree 100%.
a lot of people associate like flavor profile with body, and that's really not the case.
Okay.
You know, like you can have a spicy cigar as far as the flavor goes, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a full body cigar.
Why are we
Okay,
locking
yeah.
this door, Rob?
That makes sense.
She bumped
So,
it.
I mean, when you
Learn something new every day.
yeah, I like what Rob said. I attribute more of the thickness of the smoke, the actual smoke, to the body of the cigar.
Yeah.
Because that's
All
what
right,
you'll
now,
find.
If
now
I'm
thinking
selling
back-
somebody
And the
in the
strength.
humidor, I am selling this as a dead medium in the palate. Like you get cigars like the Aladino Classic, where that smokes. If you're not retrohaling, it smokes
Like a
light to
mild.
medium.
Yes.
Yeah, mild to medium. As soon as you retrohale, that takes it up to a medium.
Yeah.
This, even with the retrohale, is far as what I would say, is just straight medium. It doesn't beat you up with anything. It's extremely approachable.
Yeah.
But definitely has a super full flavor profile.
And
on
that's
it.
something you really got to watch when people are doing reviews, because some people will say this one is full body or this one is full strength. And most of the time when they're doing the reviews, they're talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
They're not distinguishing the difference. A lot of cigars do stay in the same realm, a medium
Yeah.
strength, medium body. This one, I'm thinking medium strength, but I'm definitely saying more medium full on the body.
Yeah.
So it does have balance in there of both going.
And I don't know. It just
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
I smoke enough full bodies to
you know me. I live in the earthy tones, and
Yeah.
this brings the darkness that I want. Maybe not the earthy tones,
Yeah.
but it brings those dark flavor notes that
those more heavy.
yeah.
Heavy notes, yeah. Yeah.
And the thing that I always notice is after I blow out the smoke is it hangs around on the inside of my mouth
Yeah.
Yeah.
in almost an oily manner.
Yeah.
And your cheeks.
Yes.
It's almost got like, which
Yeah.
is probably why it's taking the rye spice out of the whiskey itself.
I could
because that's
see
where
that.
that's your spice
Yep.
palette
It's
on your tongue.
very weird to watch people do this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. When you get done, you take a big puff, blow it out, and then you just kind of roll your tongue around your mouth, around your front of your teeth, everything else. You can kind of get an idea of what the flavors are doing in different regions of your mouth, because your mouth, the taste buds, and all the different areas are creating this flavor, and you get different places. I mean, just like whiskey. When you put it on your tongue,
Absolutely.
it's one thing. When it rolls off the sides, it's one thing. When it goes under your tongue, it's one thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like the same way with smoke. It does the exact same thing.
Well, Booker No used to do that. He used to. I mean, what was that one batch that he made? Like,
Kentucky Chew.
Yeah,
That's
that was
what
the reason
he
why.
used to call it. is
He'd
he
always
would-
chew his whiskey.
He'd damn near smack his lips together
Yeah.
while rolling it around in his mouth.
And there's
that's-
something about that. I mean, there really is.
And I will say that's what I've started doing when I'm tasting whiskey now too. Is I almost swish it like a mouthwash
Yeah,
to actually get a full flavor, because sometimes I find that the flavor that lasts on my tongue isn't long enough for me to actually be able to give any meaningful note
Totally.
whatsoever.
We typically like to do it just when we're trying to trigger people on here, when we're
I
No
do.
mouth noises.
I do it.
No.
I do it like once my palate has got acclimated to like whiskey. Like it's pretty hard to do it like right at the beginning because it just
sure.
blows your
yeah.
mouth out. Like
Yeah.
it's way too much, even at 100 proof. You know, so
Yeah, because the viscosity on this whiskey, when you lay it out there and just let it roll off, you get that thick, heavy,
Yeah,
almost
absolutely.
kind of that watered down honey kind of note to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean the rye spice. When I say it, the rye spice comes back. I just mean that it's finally there again. Like I actually taste a spice note.
Yeah.
When I started this cigar, no, it was straight honey and caramel and vanilla sweetness, and it was great.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this pairing though, and it's actually something I'm probably going to do at home and when I'm here.
You can talk into your microphones, guys.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure these
No.
guys want to hear what you're talking about.
Yeah, 120 proof.
Cool.
Just a 10-year-old pick. Nothing crazy, but very, very flavorful.
Yeah.
And that's, Isaiah will tell you, even though you preferred the other stores over Lake Liquors, you tried that 14-year pick from Lake Liquor.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was still...
Here's the deal, Eric. All of those 14-year picks that I've had
are stellar.
stellar.
From Knob Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go, Jake, that is the one bottle I will go out of my way to buy on secondary.
Okay.
Like, that's just, I love them.
If they have the year, just like the 14 years.
Yeah, I'm talking, I would say 13, 14 year.
Yeah.
I have one that's a little bit over 15 years.
What do you like about them?
I do love the beam nuttiness.
Okay.
Like, that's one of my favorite things. And most of the time, they're like brown sugar peanuts.
Yeah.
With a lot of oak presence, but I have never found one that hits that limit of over oaked for me.
I have.
Because I'm
Yeah, I have too.
I am oak sensitive as far as all that goes. And like, I've had EC18s. I've had a million of them. Everyone's like, this is a good one. I think they taste bad.
18?
EC18.
What?
Yeah. It's
Man.
not for me, man.
That stuff is like
So,
vanilla ice cream.
well,
Oh, it tastes
remember,
like pencil shaving.
It's
No.
a single barrel. It all
No.
depends. Hold on. I've had 4 different EC18s, and I can tell you about all 4 of them.
I've never had a good one.
I've had one that was over oaked. I've had one that falls right with what you're talking about, being vanilla, caramel, and just almost damn near confectionery sweetness. I've had one that was perfectly balanced in oak and caramel and cherry that I'd push my own mother into traffic for another bottle of. And
Your only living parrot.
yes.
Wow.
Thank you. You made the dead dad joke. I appreciate that. Let's get this dark humor train going.
That's rough.
I do have I have one last sample of my I had a Knob Creek 15-year-old pick
Yeah.
down from Toddy's,
Yep.
and it was called Grumpy Groundhog back in the day.
I've got.
And it was good,
If
but
you-
that was one of the ones that I thought was really, really,
If
really
you've-
oaky.
Oh.
If
Okay.
you've been to Toddy's, then you know about Twix, don't you?
Yep, I have one.
I have all 4.
That's very cool.
Nice.
What
I'm
is
not
this?
meaning that in a sarcastic way. It's
They are
just cool.
Russell's Reserve picks that are.
They do really, really good.
They
Russell's
do
Reserve
really
picks.
freaking good.
Yeah, their second one I think was my favorite.
Yeah, number 2 and number 4 were my favorites, but either way, there was a Binny's pick of 14-year Knob Creek that I bought. I might as well have disassembled the barrel and licked the oak stave. It
Wow.
was that over oaked and that tannin. It was sour.
Yeah.
Sour?
Sour. It was tannin.
Oh.
So it's kind of like we did a pairing one time that when I did Whiskey Wednesdays, and I thought it was going to be good. So like here, for the people that are watching and listening, I always like to say this when I'm on podcasts because a lot of people have a misconception on how to pair things.
Right.
And I would like to say that that's kind of one of my specialties with cigars and bourbon. Because a lot of people think that if you have like a high barrel proof alcohol that you have to have something that will stand up to it. And that's not the case at all.
No.
And the reason why is because I know from experience. So what we did is we had the Kentucky Chew Bookers.
Yep.
And we paired it with the Oliva V Figurado.
Ooh.
And when we did that,
That
it
just
was
blasted that cigar.
it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
absolutely horrible. And that's not to say that both things were great on their own, but
They just didn't combine well.
it, like you said, it tasted like if you licked a tree. Like, I mean, it was so dry,
That's so rough.
dark, so
Yeah.
bitter. So I would highly suggest to people that if they're trying to be like this connoisseur of pairings and talk to their friends and be cool about it, try to do some actual pairings and realize that
Yeah.
what
If you're looking for
pairing-
a safe bet for a full-bodied cigar, just about anything, port or sherry finish, those red fruit notes work
They'll
really
get you.
well with.
Yeah.
it.
well,
they
and
do.
I'm just saying, like when you're pairing, I think it's important to find your base.
Oh, yeah.
What's your base going to be? Is it going to be this? You're pairing the whiskey with the
Well,
cigar.
if I were pairing Bookers, you'd have to do the whiskey with the cigar.
I know.
It's
because
Which
they're
means
so
the whiskey's
different.
your base.
yeah.
But I would stray to have something more medium to mild with that, because you want to have something that will complement the big notes in Bookers. You don't want something that stands up to it.
Yeah.
No.
So, yeah.
That's how you end up with
No.
palate fatigue by the end of
All right, Booker's is singing lead. You need the cigar to sing back up.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. That's a good way to put
It
it.
is a good way to put it. I like that.
But probably not a Connecticut.
Probably not a Connecticut.
No, but you
I'd
know
say
what?
a light Habano. Like the Mil Diaz.
A light Habano,
Yeah.
or I would also say something with a Cameroon wrapper as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little sweetness.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
that'd
little
work.
earthy sweetness in there. That'd be nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Cool.
Pairing theory.
Pairing theory.
That's what we
Yeah.
do all the time, though. So
Now you want to know what's fun is the fiance will go and either pick my whiskey or pick my cigar from the humidor for me, and then I have to pick up the other half of it.
That's
so
pretty cool.
she's only doing half the work for you.
No, because then
I
she'll
thought
also.
you had her whipped into shape by now.
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna turn her loose on you.
Yeah,
you go. You
I
go.
think she could take you both
Carson.
out.
She's a nice lady.
She's a very nice lady, but she gonna whoop you, son.
I know that.
I live with a healthy fear of that woman.
So I have this book I've been reading. It's a 2-volume book called this. I think it's called "The Cigar from Soil to Soul,"
Okay.
and
I
this
saw you
is
post
one of the
about that.
deepest. I mean, dives on everything down to tobacco and seed and regions, all the way from Cuba to all the other regions, and talking about every aspect of what goes into a cigar. And dude, I'm telling you, this thing has got more detail than my mind can handle at times.
Really?
And they were talking a little bit about pairing theory and some of that too. So we'll get into that on a future episode as
That'd
I
be
get
cool.
through it, because it's really kind of cool to. It kind of breaks down the regions of your mouth and your palate, your olfactory
Totally.
systems, and all the different things.
Yep.
There is-
like aromas one
Yeah.
sense, olfactory retrohaling it. So I think
Totally.
he calls it the retro olfactory or olfaction or something like that.
There's so
there's
much
to
science
it.
behind it.
There is, and
I would love to get a hold of that book whenever you're done with
Yeah.
it, because I want to read
Yeah,
that.
it's not a cheap book. It's like a $350 book by the time
Wow.
you get it
Yeah,
done.
I'm
but-
going to borrow yours.
Yeah,
I got a
don't
wedding
blame
to
you.
save for,
I don't
man.
blame you, buddy.
So really, when Rob and I first started this, we would go and grab a cigar from the humidor, and we would just go around trying bottles until we found something that paired well. And then we finally got decent at just predicting pairings. But
that's what you have to do.
Yeah,
it
you do.
probably took 10 pairings before Rob and I could be like, oh yeah, this cigar, that'll go great with
It
that
took
bottle.
the drunken day to get us set to where we realized you don't want to try 4
Well, that's a
pairings.
byproduct.
Well, I
But
mean,
we did 4 pairings and we did back-to-back shows. So we
Yeah.
had 8 pairings.
yeah.
that's
And it was a lot.
That's
But it
no-
was a lot because Rob finished all of the pours.
Well, duh.
You don't waste
Duh.
whiskey.
I had
Yeah.
VBS
That's alcohol
that night,
abuse.
so I couldn't do
You
it.
couldn't waste
It's
it.
real simple.
that would have been a really fun VBS.
Yeah, it would've been.
I've had more fun VBS.
You ever seen Krusty Krab?
Hey, kid!
But I mean, in all seriousness, I just put up some tasting notes for the newest Wild Turkey Masters Keep called Unforgotten, and I had to do 3 tastings through it before I felt confident in giving my tasting notes. So it all comes from trial and error, and you have to take your time.
And getting your palate, like you said earlier, getting your palate acclimated to the whiskey, because
Yep.
Lisa's actually awesome at this. She will never take a whiskey and drink one sip of it. She'll have her 1, 2, 3 sips, and she'll work her way through it, and she'll never make a determination until she gets past that 3rd sip.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because your senses have to actually get acclimated to that whiskey.
Well, and a little trick I took from Isaiah, he always talks about how before he does a barrel pick, he'll smoke a Mil Diaz and drink JTS Brown. And if anything's off, then he knows he's not good for that pick, truthfully.
Yeah.
That's
Agreed?
It. Well,
So-
I only
We're
smoke
gonna
a
be
Mil
great
Diaz if I'm
friends.
picking for the shop.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
That's it, yeah.
But for
That's
me,
my base, too.
Yeah.
For me, what I did when I got home today, before I wrote up those tasting notes, I went and had probably a 1 ounce pour of Wild Turkey 101. I got acclimated to what that normal turkey profile is. I got acclimated to that proof because 101 proof versus 105 proof, you're not going to have that much of a difference. But I needed to be acclimated to that, and that is a massive thing.
Yeah.
Because what you take on a fresh palate versus what you take on one drink in, completely different.
My old base used to be, and what I mean by base is like my like go-to was like a Plasencia 146 Coseca and Eagle Rare.
Yeah,
That's-
There you go.
I mean, but we just picked with Backbone. Rob can tell you, I literally, after we had lunch together, I had a flask of JTS Brown in my pocket.
We were sipping on
Because
that before we.
you've got to make sure your palate's fine before you go
Yeah.
into it. Because
Yeah.
that first whiskey they show you might be fire.
Yeah.
But if it's your warm-up pour for the day,
Yeah.
It might
it's
not
not
be
worth
it.
anything.
Yeah.
No.
It's like when we did our, so I just
But
did
I
a-
choose JTS Brown because I know that bottle inside and out.
Yeah,
Every
exactly.
single JTS Brown tastes the same, and I like it.
Yeah,
you know?
no, it's a
Nothing
great
wrong
pour.
with it, and
Yeah.
it's way cheap.
And
Another
again,
Heaven Hill
Heaven
bottle
Hill.
bond
Yeah.
product.
And you can find it in Indiana pretty prevalently.
yeah,
That's
for
why.
$15 a bottle.
Yeah, I get a half gallon, but I'm an alcoholic, so.
No, you're only an alcoholic if you attend meetings.
That's true.
Right now, you're a savant.
Oh,
Savant.
gotcha.
I like
but
it.
I will say, like Indiana. I don't know why. Does anybody know why Indiana gets like all of like the really good like bottom shelfers? As far as
I don't know. So Indiana
like
and
J-
Kentucky like share a lot of them together.
I can actually
like
kind of
JW
answer
Dan,
that.
JTS Brown,
And why that is because back in the day, the distribution happened because you actually had a lot of distillery workers coming over from the Indiana border.
okay.
All you got to do
What
is
to Louisville?
Yeah,
Okay.
to Louisville, to Bardstown. There were plenty of guys back in the day that were making that drive, and so that's
I mean,
why
it's still
that's
not
happened.
a bad drive.
No, it's
No,
not.
I mean if
Well,
Not from Columbus. I mean,
There's-
it's a lot better than coming from Columbus, Ohio.
There's also a little bit with the distributors too, because I know for a fact that one of the distributors in Indiana decided they didn't want to play the allocated game with Sazerac products, and they didn't. So Sazerac said, "Well, screw you. We'll just let you guys have small amounts coming into Indiana. Thus, we can't get shit in Indiana on
And-
the Sazerac line."
and
Because-
thus I know where a lot of it's hiding right now.
Yep. And
If you'd like to know,
I know.
talk to me after the show.
Okay. But it's just one of those things where but I'm talking about through the distributor. I can't get a lot of the Sazerac products in here unless I buy a shit ton of Wheatley and
Yeah.
Fireball.
which I'll never, ever
So
do.
speaking of Wheatley, there's actually a bar back home in Illinois that the reason that they got Weller 107 picks, Blanton's picks, Foolproof picks, their well vodka for all their drinks is Wheatley.
Yeah.
And so they go through it.
yeah.
I mean, that's what
Nothing.
Burn does. I mean,
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I mean. And we just did I say we still, but I just did a Blanton's pick with them.
I saw that. That's why I
Yeah.
said I need to be in your line of work.
Yeah.
Forget this 3D modeling stuff. I need to be able to go out and pick barrels.
Yeah. No, it was another amazing experience. I will say Heaven Hill has a touch better
I'd
barrel
agree
pick
with that.
experience than Buffalo Trace, but like what you were saying as far as like blowing your palate out like right off the get-go, it was interesting like walking into the Blanton's Rick House, and you have 4 glasses in front of you and it's already proofed down to 93 proof and everything.
That is nice that they'll do that because there's
Yeah.
a lot of distilleries that you'll go and pick a low proofer and they'll show them to you at cash strain.
Yep.
Well, but
And that's no
as
good.
a whiskey geek and I
Oh, I know.
I had
know.
to try what they picked at cast strength, and it was absolutely phenomenal. But it was interesting because it was 2 Mondays ago, and it was kind of a brisk morning, and so whoever had set the setup up, they did it way before like we ever got there. So we get there, and the glasses are cold, the whiskey's cold, and I couldn't get anything.
Well, no,
off
not when it's
of-
cold.
Yeah, I couldn't get anything off of any of the glasses, and it took me to acclimate my palate to all of them. I tried all 4 of them, And then I tried all 4 of them again, and it was interesting because they had all the cylinders. They had graduated or cylinders out.
Yep.
And they had those filled up. And then I started smelling those, and it was way different than smelling out of the little, glasses they had. And that's what made the difference. So I started like taking those around to the guys, and we had one lady with us, and it made the world of difference.
Yeah.
And it allowed us to kind of pick what was the best
Well,
out of the 4 barrels.
That's a great point too, because like when you're tasting whiskey, if it's cold, you're not going to get a lot of those notes in it. And one night we have a couple of guys, actually three people that come in here. They love mead, so we were in here tasting mead, and the bottles were cold. So I literally took them over there and I let them float in a warm bath of water over there and brought them out, and they were just up at more like room temperature, and it brought out so much flavor. And it does the exact same thing with whiskey. The more you get it up to room temperature or just slightly chilled maybe, you're going to get so much more flavor out of it because it's made to be more at a normal temperature, not cold.
And like Jake said, he had the graduated cylinder and you had the Glencairn, right?
Yep. Well, it was a small glass. It wasn't a Glencairn, but it was a tiny glass.
The type of glass and the shape of said glass will drastically change whatever you get on the nose.
It does. There's a reason why wine
it changes
glasses
your
are shaped.
perception too. Like,
it does.
The craziest thing is my first ever trip down to Starlight. Like, I did the tour, and of course Starlight Distillery will just run you through barrels in the rick house until you're drunk, just on a tour.
Yeah.
So I'm there. I come home with like 4 bottles. It's a good time. Good time
Great
down at
time.
Starlight, and that was when their prices were still decent because this was probably a year and a half ago.
Right.
And,
I remember those times.
And I got them home, threw them into Glenn's, and I was like, "This is a different thing."
Yeah,
Yep.
completely.
And then I got it back out and got my Starlight glass and was like, "Oh, this is what I remember it being." And then I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah, it's weird.
I gotta
man.
have glassware.
Yeah.
And
that's
it's a different beast, just depending on glassware. Like the little Starlight glasses that they'll give you on tours and on tastings.
They're like baby wine glasses without a stem.
Yeah,
basically.
and-
But they make it taste so much sweeter, and the nose on them just.
And that's what I'll do. Like today when I tried to give tasting notes for that wild turkey, I put it in a Norland glass that had the little fins in the bottom. I then transferred and did my nosing. I transferred it over to a Glencairn, did my nosing, and I put it in a Starlight glass actually, because I know all 3 of those glasses produce completely different noses.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see what was consistent across the board before I wrote a single thing down. And it's with the engineering background that I have, the science and the variables that are involved, I freaking love it. It's just
pretty cool.
Makes me it makes my little ADHD brain tick so
The
hard.
only thing I will say, and I'm throwing shots here, don't trust anybody that tastes whiskey out of rocks glass. You can't get a good nose on that to save your life.
And that's
well,
one
you
of the-
can trust me if I'm giving you Wild Turkey 101 notes out of a rocks
Well,
glass.
but
Because
the one-
you drank it 1,000,000 times out of a Glen.
That's one of the problems I have because I mean, you go to a lot of whiskey lounges and that's all they pour.
That's all
in.
they- yeah, that's
and
all they
I
give
don't
you.
understand that because I mean, I've been to some really high end ones that have some amazing bottles, and you're like, yeah, I'll take a pour of that. Well, Heaven Hill 17, for example, first time we had that, it came out in a freaking rocks glass.
Was
I'm
it
like,
a double
God
rocks
dang
or
it.
a single rocks? Like the huge rocks glasses?
It was a
Or
huge
like
rocks glass.
Oh, not even like the small ones that you
No.
have?
No, and it
Oh,
was just
mercy.
like, and it was amazing. I cannot wait for Lisa to get into her bottle with a Glen because I think she's just going to be floored what it does.
She's going to be over the moon.
Yeah, yep. That was her unicorn bottle that a group of us all got together and bought her for her birthday.
Oh, very
so
cool.
She's got her Heaven Hill 17.
The
now.
17 Heritage.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's
Yeah.
even signed by Max Shapiro,
Oh, very cool.
CEO.
Yep.
Him
Very
and
cool.
the distiller, both.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had both signatures on the bottle. It's pretty cool.
Very awesome.
That is pretty cool.
But we're
I'm in
really
the final
down
third.
to yeah.
It's extremely charred toast at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the palate. On the retro hail, there's a little bit more spice, but it's still in that baking spice realm.
It doesn't
It's-
get bitter though. That's what's
No,
exciting.
and it's not light up your nose sort of spice on there. Which, again, I love that when that comes, but
I do
that's
too.
not this cigar.
No.
And honestly, if it was on this cigar, I'm not sure it would have a place. So
No,
you know?
it never gets bitter, and it never really gets overpowering.
No.
The strength ramps up, but it does it in a very natural way.
Yeah,
for lack of a better
you're
term.
definitely into a medium to medium full range right now.
Yeah.
And
in this cigar,
it's so
but it's
good.
perfect. It's right where
like,
it needs to
like
be.
I've said from the beginning, balance is the best word I have for this, because there are very few cigars that I will smoke to the nub, and this is one of them.
yeah.
And that whiskey, man.
Oh, honey.
Oh my gosh, that is just
Yeah.
getting better and better.
Yeah, it just reminds me now of clover, honey, oak, and there's still some cinnamon presence on that whiskey.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where I'm getting that kind of like hot honey idea in my
Gotcha.
back of
Could
my
Be
mind.
the
Yeah.
combo of the two, for sure.
It is actually a really good pairing.
It really
It's a
turned out
great
nice.
pairing.
Well, you did this, Rob.
No, you're the one that picked it. Good job, buddy. Cheers.
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 Cheers. Nice. Cheers. There we go. We got you.
Ding.
All right, well, let's wrap it up. So again, guys, this pairing will be available for the next week, so come in and try it. Even if you don't get it during this week and you want to try it, I mean, we'll have these cigars for a little while longer.
Yeah.
I think we had a total of maybe 10 boxes. I may try to get a few more of them if we can possibly get them.
You
but-
can get more.
Okay. So we'll work on that too. And the Heaven Hill, I finally got to the point where I can buy a lot of the Heaven Hill products on the allocated side and not worry about it. So that's worked out nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I will say, that's one thing I'm working on too. And the next year is doing this Heaven
Mellow
Hill.
corn pick.
No, not a mellow
Yeah.
corn pick. No.
Come on, Rob.
No, we're doing an Elijah Craig pick, and you're not coming.
I'm coming on Elijah. I would love an Elijah Craig.
No,
pick.
we're bringing
So I'm-
Jake.
I'm really working.
Well, we can bring him too.
Or a
Heck yeah.
larceny barrel proof pick.
No, I'm not a big fan of the larceny barrel.
I've not
pick.
had much
Really?
of the larceny stuff, and I've had
Man,
The
some of
batch
the older
ones?
barrels are fantastic.
Okay, the batched larceny barrel proof. I have never found one that nailed my palate.
Wait till you try some 11,
Like-
12-year larceny barrel proof.
Yeah, it's darn
Okay.
good.
All right.
It's pretty
Rob's a
amazing.
hard sell on a weeded bourbon though.
Yeah, I'm not
Well-
a big weeded guy.
It don't taste weeded at that proof.
Okay.
No, it doesn't.
True.
At
That's true.
128 proof,
I will
it's
believe
pretty
you.
amazing.
It's stellar.
Well,
Okay.
and,
It's
and
dangerous.
that first weeded we had from Backbone when we were down there, actually, that was one of the ones I liked. That was in my
Actually, you
top
loved
4.
that wheat whiskey.
The
Yeah.
first one. That's
It
what I'm
was a
talking about,
wheat
yeah.
whiskey.
Wheat whiskey, yeah.
not
One of the
weeded
best
bourbon.
weeded bourbons is Corsets and Whips by Journeyman's.
I've
Yes,
still
it
not
is.
been
That's
up
one
there
of the
yet.
best weeded bourbons on the market. By
I have
far.
had that. I smashed a bottle of that at one of my friends' weddings. Very crushable.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately, I mean, it's coming from Michigan. I mean, I'm an Ohio State guy, so.
Okay.
And we
Hey,
lost.
who
There's
won
still
this
some good
past
whiskey
week?
up there.
I know.
That was brutal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
That was
It was
brutal.
pretty bad. So they got two. They got 2 out of the last 15. That's fine.
Yeah, and that just dated this show.
It's just the last
so.
2. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah. But
But yeah, well, thanks a lot, guys, for listening in. Again, thank you guys for coming in. Thanks,
Yeah.
Jake,
Absolutely,
for coming
thank you.
over.
thank you for having
Thank
me
you
on.
for having me on.
Yeah.
This has been a good time.
So be sure, if you haven't yet, check us out on the podcast platforms. We're on all of them,
Yep.
which is a fairly recent thing for us. I think this will be our 4th or
Third
5th
or fourth,
episode
yeah, whatever.
posted. So check us out there. If you don't like watching an hour and 40-minute YouTube video, which I can't imagine doing that, but hey,
No.
a lot of you guys do, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you for it.
Yeah, we appreciate everyone that's been following us along on this. I mean, we started doing this mainly because of the little small segment we do on the Pulpit podcast, but you know, we've actually started having fun with this and people are enjoying it. And now that we're being able to invite some guys on here with us, this has been an absolute blast to do.
Yeah.
So again, you can follow me on Instagram at Final Third Cigar.
Yeah, you can find me at the Whiskey Pastor.
You can find me at the Bourbon Cowboy 72.
Yep. And then Jake Sanders with Crowned Head Cigars. My handle is at Jakes with an S _ Finer Life.
Yeah. So thanks again, guys, and come in and check it out. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.